Okay guys, so now we are going to make a new kind of selection shape just to kind of go through that again. This time we're going to kind of make an outer frame for this poppy dress image. So I'm going to make sure first of all I click on the layers tab here. I'm on the poppy feather dress layer. Now back to this little tab for path. I will make a new path and I will call it cloud shape, because that's what we're going to do. Oh, I didn't click on it, right? Just gonna gotta really get on there. And don't worry if you make mistakes. I certainly make them all the time, as you can clearly see. So I have selected cloud shape, and now I will go over to my little friend here, the pen tool, and make sure that you're not on one of these other pen tools. You want that right at the top there, pen tool. Okay, so now make my first click down here. Just click down once. My next point, I click, I hold the mouse down and I drag, kind of creating this nice little arch here. I will now alt click this point so that I can reset the tool, and I'm kind of getting you to do a shape that'll purposefully kind of teach you to alt click and alt click over and over until it's drilled in your head that you have to do this, because if you don't you'll get strange wonky paths when you're doing circular shapes. If you're doing a series of straight lines, this would not, you wouldn't need the alt click, but for curved shapes that are moving around, often you have to do this. So I'm kind of maybe doing a little bit of overkill here with this, but I'd rather have you kind of understand this at first and get it out of the way. So this is my way of getting you into this habit. So I am alt clicking every time I go over that point, and finally I close it up. You see that the little pen tool icon comes back up. I now have a completely closed path. It is called cloud shape, and I can use this path for a number of reasons. Primarily, of course, is for selecting. I've made a selection. I know that I'll click back to my layers, and I know that I'm on the right layer. I'll just double check that the name is right. If I didn't name it, I can always kind of blind it by clicking that little eye and go, yes indeed, that is the right layer. So now I want to kind of get rid of the outer edge of this. I will say select inverse, and then I will simply hit the delete key, and that will get rid of the content on the outer edge of this. So now I will go Control D. So this layer is now free floating. Grab my little kind of selection tool here and I can move it around. It is now in this beautiful little frame. However, when I moved it, just to remind you that my actual path here did not move with it. You will see in a second. It's kind of off here. If you want to move that little guy, you just need to come over here, pick the path selection tool, and you'll see that it kind of almost is magnetically attracted to it. But I would say that best to do your selection and everything all at once and not move things around too much. You could get some kind of problems. But when an image is a part of an image is selected, that really means that you can kind of control a lot of different things in that image. Color, you can do funky effects, you can do a lot of things. This lesson is really to teach you how to select, not so much what you can do once you've selected it, other than delete content or areas of content. So thank you very much for listening, and join me on the next section.